It's no secret that Black Ops 6 is literally dead. No one is playing this game, but why is that? Today, I'm gonna go over a few reasons why I think Black Ops 6 failed and what I think Black Ops 7 can do differently to bring us all back to the game we once loved. Let's dive in. Okay, we're gonna tackle the big issue right away, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna put a picture up on your screen and you're gonna look at it, and I'm just gonna ask you one simple question. What game is this from? And now, obviously, this is a Call of Duty channel. I'm gonna be up front. It's not a trick question. It's from Call of Duty. This specifically is from Warzone, but it is Black Ops 6 Warzone. And a lot of this is carrying over to the multiplayer. We're gonna really focus multiplayer on this video because Warzone, I think at this time, it just needs to be its own thing. Let people do their thing over there. Now, I also wanna ask you another question. What era or what year was Black Ops 6 in? What is the campaign of this game? Well, it's 1980s. And I think if you're playing this multiplayer, you've completely forgotten it's the 1980s. You don't know what year it is. You honestly probably don't know what planet you're on. So let me talk about the lack of identity. They have thrown every single collab out there in the books, whether it was Ninja Turtles, whether it was Beavis and Butthead, whether it was Squid Games. I just don't think that that works for Call of Duty. I think that they could probably show me the stats of how many people bought Beavis and Butthead skins and I'd be sick to my stomach. But how many people are you turning off? You're making that money from the game, but are you losing a core bunch of people that used to play this game all the time that they no longer play it because they're like, I'm tired of shooting Beavis and Butthead. We're playing a 1980s shooter. I don't know what you would call the word, but they've just kind of it's copying Fortnite. The battle pass system, the collab skins, the events, and they used to do it in a way that made sense to Call of Duty. And now it's just like, we don't want that in our game. But I don't mean to sound like an old head, you know, screaming at the clouds, but to me, what made Call of Duty memorable back in the day was when the entire game encompassed an era of what you were doing. So let's go back to COD 4. Let's go back to World at War. COD 4 is a modern shooter. You play the campaign. It's this modern tech, the whole thing. And then the multiplayer, it felt very similar. You were in a modern settings, the buildings, all that stuff. You're in overseas. It matched. And then you go to World at War. And you know what? The single player, it's gritty. It's gory. Well, you better believe that's exactly what the multiplayer was. And even the zombies took it a step further in terms of eerie and just weird. And just that you're like, oh, I'm a little tense right now. And that's what that brought. And I feel like now everything's just this whole jumbled mess of stuff rather than let's make a unified project and let's make people love this game. I think you can kind of go nuts with the guns. I don't think anybody has a problem with blueprints being weird. And, you know, I think back again to the Modern Warfare 19 Saw with it was the AMAX where it had the red lasers. I think we're okay with that. I think your skins, I think back to COD 4 Remastered. This was a game that didn't have customization, but they added it. And when they added it, they did a pretty good job. Now, I know some people didn't like that they added it, but they got to make money. And they did, obviously. But if you look at the skins, if you look at the faces, nothing gets too wild outside of the realm of the game. And I quickly want to go over, I think Charlie Intel or Ghost of Hope tweeted, like, they are aware of this, like that people are turned off by this stuff. And I think BO6 just unfortunately was the game that they were going to try everything on. Because you got to think, Beavis and Butthead, all these are signed way before the game's even going. They're 3-4 months in advance. So that tweet was probably three or 4 months old. So I'm hoping that they got the point and they're going to see, okay, people didn't like this. We know it now. When we go into BO7, we're going to be aware of it. And then we're not going to be as crazy. And I think people would like that. Okay, that's point number one. Now let's move on to point number two. And I think this is content. Content in general, the scope of the game. When we played Modern Warfare 3 last year, if you played it, you really, if you didn't play it, you missed a really good Call of Duty. Well, at least the multiplayer side of things. But we were eating last Call of Duty. We had a bunch of maps that were really good. We had a bunch of like fun events that happened. We had the aftermarket parts. Pretty much there was something every week, it felt like, with this game. In Black Ops 6, I feel like it's been the complete opposite. It feels like you're just scraping to try to find something to do. Whether it's the maps that get added, whether it's the guns that get added, there's just not a lot of stuff going on. And I feel like there's this tug and pull with these free updates. Me and Chopper just talked to Greg, who was a former Sledgehammer guy, and he was like, man, Call of Duty gives you a lot of stuff. And 100% they do. Multiplayer, campaign, zombies, every single year. It's great. But multiplayer wise, you can't just leave the product once you release it. Gaming is different nowadays. People need updates. They want to stay on the game. If you want us to stay on the game, you got to give us something new. And I feel like with the maps in Black Ops 6, though, it was a major issue. They were too small. I get the effort. They tried it. I don't think it worked. So what would have been the best option is to put out a bunch of maps after the case and do like Modern Warfare 3 did. I mean, the best maps in Modern Warfare 3 are the DLC maps. They're great. 6-star, all that stuff. They're phenomenal. And I feel like with Black Ops 6, the maps, I feel like we got one every 3 months. And don't even get it twisted here, guys. I get it. They added the 2v2 modes or the 2v2 maps. I don't want to play a 6v6 map on a 2v2 map. I want to have a little, I want to run just a little bit before I get into a gunfight. And we'll talk about that at another point down the road here. Also, let's talk about the maps. They added Grind, which is a remake. They just added Fringe, which is one of my favorite maps of all time. And they added into season, what are we at? Season 4, season 5? It's like, nobody's playing the game anymore. Why? Just save Fringe for Black Ops 7 at this point. So there's like a lack of content to play. Now, I have a couple solutions for this. I don't think it's map packs. I've thought about this more and more. I don't think map packs is a solution, because at the end of the day, if you did play back in the olden times with World at War and all that, if somebody bought a map pack and then somebody didn't, it split the player base. You couldn't play with that friend until they uninstalled it, or you bought it. People wouldn't do that. So that's not the answer. I think there's two things that we could do here. Number one, we could do remasters up front. Okay, hear me out here on this one. If you don't think you can make the great 12 maps anymore, just take the COD Mobile route. Hey, let's give them Raid, Standoff, Hijacked at launch, and then we'll try to make like 3 or 4 really good maps over time. I'd like to say even more. And that way it's like, okay, we got good starter maps. We know they're good. And then if they're good, if you're taking your best 5 maps and giving them as seasonal content, I mean, hey, that's a win-win for everybody. We're all happy. And again, that's what Modern Warfare 3 showed that we could do. MW2 maps, everybody loved them. And then they added 4 or 5 really, really good maps. So I think that's another thing. Also, I know Splitgate has done this. Obviously, Halo has done this. Halo especially, that I've been seeing recently, they're just giving the community tools to make maps. I don't know how hard this is. Developer in the chat, feel free to tell me if it is. Why don't you just let the people work for you? I could tell you there are so many people out there that would love to make good maps, put them in a community playlist. Go back to Modern Warfare 3, the OG one. I mean, we got it like, didn't we get like Infected and Drop Zone and all this from literally community people making these game modes and events and all that stuff? And then they put them in the game. Like, it was a community playlist. Hey, these are the top voted things. We're going to put them in. Imagine there was a map editor and the top voted map of the week went into the pool of play. And if people hated it, they took it out. And if not, they just added it. You don't got to do any work besides adding it into your game. So I think that's one of my top solutions. Let the community work for you. We want to work for you. Look at the custom paint jobs back in the day, the people that did it right. They were given ideas left and right how cool camos could look and player cards. So the community is artistic. They want to work. They want to help. Let us help. So solution, remasters in the beginning. Give us your top 5 good, top 6 maps, 6v6, and then let the community work a little bit. Let us work. We'll do it. Okay, next up is kind of content part 2, but this is my third point. It's game modes. Okay, so we got to stop doing this. This is what they've been doing lately. This is what all the games have been doing lately. This is what Madden has been doing lately, 2K. We're withholding these game modes at launch. And then 3 months later, we're bringing them into the game like they're a brand new thing. One of my favorite things in Modern Warfare 19, let me do my hand motion here. Modern Warfare 19, if you remember back, if you didn't know this, a bunch of people flew out to Infinity Ward and they played Gunfight. The brand new mode that MW19 and Infinity Ward introduced was Gunfight. If you never played that mode, it is so fun. It was one of my favorite things to do in that game. I was so excited when Modern Warfare 2 came out. Before it actually came out, I was actually excited to play it. And when the game launched, Gunfight wasn't even in the game. And I just sat there and I'm like, wait a second, something that I played, because you remember back in MW19 and even Cold War, they had like tournaments that you could do. You would win like camos and calling cards and all sorts of stuff. So they put a little effort into the game, that game mode. And when I got to MW2 to go play Gunfight, it wasn't there. And I think MW2's game modes at the beginning were very light. Like there was not many at all. So that really disappointed me. Now, eventually they did bring it into the game, and this is where they announced this brand new game mode that we're adding, and I think it was Blueprint Gunfight. So it wasn't even the same thing. It was blueprints from the store that you played with, probably to try to get you to buy some of them. And I'm just like, it just doesn't feel the same. It's not the same vibe that we had in MW19. And I stopped playing Gunfight. I don't play it anymore. I think Black Ops 6, did they just add one in the chamber, or they just added something? I think it was one in the chamber. I think they added that in like season 3. So a portion of the roadmap is adding something that has been in the game since 2010. And it's marketed as something brand new. So my solution is keep it how it just give us the modes at launch. I don't think anybody's upset if you were to take that section out of the season pass and get rid of like, hey, there's no new game mode this season because you got them all at the start. Now maybe you do some fun game modes like the Get Higher was awesome, and I'm trying to think of another one that I like that they added recently, but Get Higher is the only one I can really think of right now. But so like that's something you could go try. But even Get Higher, it never came back. Why is Get Higher not just continued on to the next game? It was a great mode and it never came back. And I'm just like, what happened? I want to play that. Okay, so next up, I don't know if this is the proper wording for this. I'm just calling this point brain rot design. And again, this is not like a shot at any developer or anything. It's more, I kind of want to explain to you my thought process with this one, comparing it to old Call of Duty. Now, back in the day, this is going to be like multiple things kind of tied into one thing, but back in the day, you would like camo grind, but you would kind of camo grind more casually. Like you were just playing the game as is, you were playing multiplayer, you would get headshots. The only really thing you could get to get the camo grind, again, was headshots. That's how you got the camos. It was 25, 50, 75, 100. Now I kind of want to go two different ways, so I hope this makes sense because it made sense in my head. But first off, let's talk about map design. I watched a wonderful video by Drifter, the OG COD guy. He was talking about the maps in general, of how quickly you got into an engagement versus, we could go to like Black Ops 2. Let's go to like standoff. And I don't know the exact numbers. I hope this is semi close, but when you spawned in, it took you 5 to 6 seconds to find somebody and shoot, which doesn't sound like a long time, but when you are sprinting, it's actually kind of a long time. And then in this game, it's literally like 1 second. So think back to every single map you play in this game. You can almost fire at somebody when you walk 1 second or sprint 1 second. That to me, it's just not a fun experience to play that all the time. Yes, it's great to play it every once in a while, and that's kind of going to tie into my other point. The modes with maps it's just, we got to do something about this. The stakeout, the map that's super small, and it's always available 24/7. That map is literally the definition of TikTok in my head. People are just playing it to grind their camos. They get them so quickly. And then I think when you get done camo grinding, you're like, okay, what exactly am I actually doing this for? Like I said, Black Ops 1, like it took you to the 14th prestige to get gold camo. So you were just playing the game. BO2, same way. Like you just got it over time, but it took you longer because the maps were bigger. And how I'm tying this in is, I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day, back in my day, I've said that like 4 times this video. Dude, they would have these modes where it was like shipment 24/7 and it was for the weekend. It was like weekend warfare. Get on, get extra XP, rank your guns up, get those camos that you wanted to get. And it put like a little timer on it. You're like, oh my gosh, shipment's gonna be in the game for 24/7 for 2 days? I gotta play. And then guess what? It went away. And then it was back to the normal gameplay. Slowed down a little bit. You know, we're a little bit more strategies involved. And that's going on with the brain rot design. Is there doesn't feel like there's any strategy in Black Ops 6. There feels like it's just sprint to the other side, fight somebody, die. Even on Search and Destroy. Search and Destroy was always that game mode where you were like, okay, let me chill here for a little bit. Let me go over here, let me flank. Now it's like Black Ops 6 is just sprint to the other side and see how fast you can do it. And it loses that strategic gameplay that made Call of Duty great while still having that arcade design. It was still quick pace, but it was slow enough that it wasn't like a Rainbow Six or a Battlefield, but it was still you still had to use your brain. That's what I'm saying. And we just need to untrain the people to stop thinking in TikTok brain and start going back to the old school COD. I think MW19 did it the best. I know MW19 did a lot wrong, but I think of like pacing and the gameplay. I feel like that had a really good formula. Cold War similar as well. And even Modern Warfare 3. Like we've had ones that are like they're there, and then we try to get too crazy. And I think BO6 just went too crazy. And I think they even know that. So that was kind of all over the place. Hopefully that made sense, but let's move on to the next point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I saved the best one for last because listen, if I would have done this first, half the audience probably would have clicked off. And that, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about skill-based matchmaking, okay? And I'm going to try to be as objective as I can with this. And I actually want to give a solution, and I think it's a good one. I do. We all know skill-based matchmaking seems to be plaguing the industry kind of every game. But here's the thing, it's not going away. They got their system in place. We have to wrap our brain around that. It is not gonna go away. I hate to say it. I'd love to be at the forefront where it gets rid of it. But we've seen games try to kind of come into the scene. X-Defiant tried to kind of advertise no SPMM in our game, and unfortunately it didn't do very well. Now I think there were other factors, but that too, no content is one of them. But again, it doesn't work anymore. It seems like SPMM is here to stay, and there's a percentage of players that I think it really helps. You know, your brand new player, you don't want them to sign on to your game, get absolutely smoked, and leave the game, because it's all about retention. And I get that. I totally understand that, and I don't really like it because I'm from the way of thinking of, okay, if I suck at something, I want to get better at it. I don't want to quit, especially if I enjoy something. Like if I want to get better at, you know, baseball and I enjoy playing it, but I suck, I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to get better at this. But I think that they want people to just stay and play no matter what. My way of thinking is if they don't like the game, they're going to quit anyway. So what does it matter? But I'm all over the place. I think you need to have it for a percentage of people. But I do think that there needs to be some sort of pool where as soon as you get into this wider pool, it needs to be a little bit more flowy. You need to get a little bit more ups and downs of players. There needs some bad and good. I tweeted this the other day and people had some similar thoughts. I got on Black Ops 6. I played 2 games It was the sweatiest experience of all time. So I simply tweeted, either I'm in the strictest skill-based matchmaking bracket of all time, or there's not a single casual player left on this game. So it's one of the two. And I got a lot of responses saying, hey, I watched my dad play this game. There's casuals on this game. So from my experience, I'm going to offer this suggestion. And I think they're going to probably do this. And I might get some crap in the comments for it. And I'm okay with that. But I think there needs to be a casual playlist. I think at this point, we're seeing where the industry is going. Fortnite has bots. Warzone has bots. PUBG has bots. If I'm just going to want to chill and camo grind and kind of just listen to music or a stream, there needs to be a playlist. And I guarantee you it will be the most popular playlist on Black Ops 7 if they do this. 3 real players, 3 bots. Simple enough. You have a casual playlist just like they do it in Warzone. And that way, if you're a sweat like me, I don't actually try to sweat all the time. I want to go into a game and use a random off-meta weapon. Okay, that's what I want to do. But if I'm against TikTok YY Demon Billy Bob, who's using the Jackal PDW Dark Matter, what am I going to do? Go 8 and 50? It's like, that's not fun for me. But ranked would be a reward, and you get something good for ranking your player up. Kind of like a Halo system, Halo 3 system. All right, I want to briefly talk about this because I don't want to speak. I hate talking about this. I really do. It's the hacking situation. I want to be brief because I want to call a couple people out. And I'm not calling out any creators. I'm talking about people at home. Not everybody's hacking, bro. Okay? You may just suck at Call of Duty. Now, I'm also going to counterpoint that is, yes, there are hackers in Call of Duty. There was somebody in the World Series of Warzone that just got hacked. That was hacking in the World Series, got kicked out. Okay, so it was just yesterday that I'm making this video. So you're right. There are hackers. You are right. But not everybody's hacking. So I think if they could figure out a way to maybe revamp the anti-cheat, the ricochet system, and really get into a spot where people like, okay, it's working decently enough that the trust is kind of coming back. And I think another thing too is just the culture shift in people. Dude, I remember dying to people in MW2 and Black Ops 1 and being just mind blown. I was like, that guy is so good at this game. I gotta send that guy a friend request. And now it's just like, you're hacking. I mean, you go watch anybody. If they take somebody out, kill him, dude. The guy's screaming, you're hacking, right? Instant reaction, you're screaming, he's hacking. And they have a reason to think like that because of how bad it was back in like 2019. I do think it's better now, but I think that there is still that doubt in people's mind. So you need to reassure them by revamping the anti-cheat. And also, this is a call out to the people saying everybody's hacking. You also need to reevaluate. You may not be that good. Okay? I'm sorry. Somebody's got to tell you that, man. Everybody in life will realize at some point or the other, you know, if I go play basketball against NBA players, you got to wake up. I used to think I was going into the NBA. And then I played a team back in high school that half the team went to the NBA. And I said, yeah, I'm not going to the NBA. But I didn't say that they were cheating in basketball. No, they're just better. And if I wanted to get better, I could have. But I decided I'd rather play Call of Duty and still play basketball, but just play it at a more medium level. So some of y'all need to get better. But Call of Duty, I think you also need to fix the anti-cheat. There we go. Well, guys, that turned into 6 points. And the video went a little bit longer than I thought. But again, this is a rant. This is a Call of Duty rant, but I think I also provided solutions. And if you're watching this from Call of Duty, I love your game. Do I play Black Ops 6 that much anymore? No, I've been playing World War II because I enjoy it. But I'm just a Call of Duty guy. I want to see the game thrive. I want to see the game. I want it to be cool to play Call of Duty again. Now it feels like Call of Duty is the opposite of cool. It's like, that dude plays Call of Duty. What a loser. Hey, listen, I'm a loser. It is what it is. But I hope if you are watching this at home, let me know if you think I missed anything. Let me know if you think I'm wild on any of these takes. If you're a dev, I would love to chat. I've been at the last couple COD Necks, and you know, I feel like You can give feedback, but I'd love to give more. So if you ever want to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I'd love to chat. I really would. And I'd love to chat in a casual manner where I'm not just like, this game sucks, this game sucks. I want this game to thrive. So anyway, sorry for the rant, but I was excited to do this because I've never really done one on my channel before. You guys always kind of make fun of me because I say Call of Duty is back all the time. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment your opinions, and subscribe if you're new and you like Call of Duty still, because I love posting Call of Duty and there'll be more videos. Okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna go outside now.